Hello everyone and welcome to Mountain Lake Journal. I'm Tom Halleck. We hope you had a happy Thanksgiving. This week we're sitting down with Plattsburgh Mayor Chris Rosenquest to talk about the Margaret Street Project, the renovation work here in the downtown that lasted much of the spring, summer, and right into the fall that's finally wrapped up, much to the relief of business owners who say the 6-month project took a real toll on their businesses and bottom line.
We are terrifically excited to be supporting the end. They essentially have taken a 2-year project and they've made it largely a 1-year project with some finishing to be done in the spring, which has been tremendously helpful for the businesses here.
Also, the state announced this past week that $2 million in grants will be spread across 14 economic development projects in the North Country. $500,000 in economic state development grant money will help Assemble-Right, company that's setting up shop in the TDC Industrial Park in the town of Plattsburgh to start up operations to manufacture steel frame flood barriers. The North Country Chamber of Commerce says Assemble-Right is associated with the owners of Spencer ARL, a Plattsburgh-based transportation equipment company. North Country Chamber President Gary Douglas says the chamber worked with the owners in selecting Plattsburgh for its new location.
It really is it's a great win. It further diversifies our manufacturing base, and also has an impact of reinforcing Spencer's and their owners' presence here in this community.
Douglas says the chamber is also actively connecting the company with lawmakers in Washington in hopes of securing federal funding. And the city of Plattsburgh is being awarded $500,000 to continue with renovations and restoration work on City Hall, including new front steps and cleanup work in the basement to take care of decades worth of water damage. And Mayor Chris Rosenquest is with us now. Good to see you. Welcome back.
Thanks, Tom. How are you?
I'm well, thanks.
Great.
Margaret Street is reopened after being torn up for more than 6 months after crews spent the summer and much of the fall replacing old water and sewer lines, rebuilding the street and sidewalks. For business owners, downtown residents, and drivers navigating all those months of construction and disruptions, a huge relief. For you as well?
I can't even express how relieved I am on this project. Considering that section of Margaret Street is one of the most important economic business districts that we have here in the city of Plattsburgh, as well as one of the most densely populated residential districts. It was really important for us to focus some efforts on addressing those concerns, avoiding major catastrophe, and planning for it. It was originally going to be a 2-year project. When it went out to bid, the contractor came back and said, hey, we think we can do this in a year, in a spring. As they started progressing through the project, they did really good work and was able to wrap the majority of it up before the end of the year. There's some minor things that are happening out there, but nothing that's preventative from people traveling or visiting downtown. Certainly not the level of disruption that we've seen over the last 6 months. So yeah, it's a big relief, big sigh of relief, and it looks good. One of the major things that we wanted to do was expand the sidewalks, more compliance, ADA compliance, accessibility, make the streets look nicer. The very short section of one-way was voted on by people who participated in the survey and wanted to retain parking on both sides of the street. So here we are at the end of this project, and it came out very, very well.
So you're reminding folks, it is one-way from Court to Brinkerhoff.
Correct. One-way traveling south from Court to Brinkerhoff. It's about a 500-foot section of Margaret Street. I think the first few days people were a little confused. I think I saw a couple cars driving down the wrong way, and that's to be expected. But at the end of the day, it's all kind of worked out.
Have you had a chance to talk to businesses? Have they? A number of them were concerned about all the work, and a number of them did feel an impact on their business. Has their business rebounded now?
Yeah, 100%. We understood that was going to be the case. One thing that we said from the beginning was this was going to be a major disruption to downtown. As a small business owner, it's not lost on me that there is a really significant concern out there from small business owners who were going to be impacted by this project. You've seen it. I saw it the very first 3 months. People were pretty upset about it. it, and rightfully so, and understandably so. But we were able to remain in contact with those folks, make sure that we heard their concerns, try to mitigate their concerns at every step of the way. Part of addressing those concerns was downtown dining, especially in the summertime. Some people were able to take advantage of downtown dining, outdoor dining. Some people weren't, just because of where they were located in the construction area. But at the end of the day, everybody kind of came out of it. But as a result of that concern and the construction project, the city has leveraged the Community Development Revolving Loan Fund to carve off a chunk of cash money for those impacted businesses, up to $30,000 loan, payment free, interest free for the first year, and then there's a payment cycle after the fact. So I think we've got about 6 or 7 businesses that have taken or are trying to take advantage of that program, which I'm very excited for. That's the reason why we put that program together, is to help mitigate those financial impacts that those folks felt.
Are we going to go through this again? Do you have other sections of the city that are going to have infrastructure work done?
Oh, sure, and it's an ongoing. We're always chasing the next big concern. South Peru Street. We're trying to gauge whether or not we need to dig up pipes in South Peru Street, or we can just do a mill and fill, what's called mill and fill, or pave that, and then Cornelia Street. Cornelia Street, again, is probably the second most impactful business district that we have in the city of Plattsburgh, between Prospect all the way up to the town line, which is right around Starbucks, and trying to figure out how do we reconfigure that street for pedestrian safety, biking and walking, as well as making it a little bit more of a beautified neighborhood or beautified street. That's a complete DOT project. That's not a City of Plattsburgh project, but they are working with us in terms of the design and the timeline for that construction. That, again, that's going to be a major construction project. That doesn't include replacement of infrastructure, but it will include major revisions to the road, as well as including bike safety. It's tragic, and you probably heard recently there was a death of a bicyclist up on that street, and it's very heartbreaking to hear that story. I'm a bicyclist myself, and that's the worst that we hear when we do hear of a bike accident that results in a fatality, and those are the kinds of infrastructure improvements that we want to make because of those reasons.
Will that project add bike lanes on Cornelia Street?
Ideally, yes. That's what's been in the talks, as well as permanent sidewalks, not just temporary sidewalks.
We're heading into the holidays. A couple of popular events coming up. The holiday train will be rolling into Plattsburgh this weekend, Saturday night, November 25th at 7 p.m. CP Rail Train, once again, decked out in thousands of holiday lights. Some holiday singers will put on a show for the crowd that gathers at the train station. This has really become a nice tradition for Plattsburgh.
It has, and we had a pause there for a moment, and it came back. I was on the train with Miles. Last year was a really great experience. It's nice to see the community gather as well, and part of the CP Rail event is also a food donation. I believe JCO is still part of that food, gathering the food for a donation. Again, it's a really nice way to bring our community together, to celebrate the holidays together, and to give back a little bit. And so it's nice to see events like this coming together.
The city's also getting ready to host a holiday parade coming up on Saturday, December 2nd, with a parade through the downtown, tree lighting in the evening. You're teaming up with the Strand Center for the Arts, calling it a miracle on Margaret Street, an afternoon and evening of festive events, the Nutcracker Ballet being performed at the Strand, then the parade and tree lighting, and a wonderful couple, Stan and Chris Ransom, will be the honorary Grand Marshals this year, who will lead the parade.
Great. Yeah, I really could not say enough great things about Chris and Stan. They are pillars of our community. They are very well respected and looked up to in our community, and there couldn't be a more deserving two people to deserve this honor.
And speaking of City Hall, just this past week, the city got news it's been awarded $500,000 by the state of New York to complete more restoration work on City Hall. New steps out front to match the original steps from 1917, and to fix up the basement. I guess the basement has water damage.
Yeah, and this has been again, if my administration has been tasked with anything, it's to fix old buildings, or sometimes tear one down. But it has been to address some deferred maintenance that we've been struggling with in the city, whether it be City Hall, the parks, Margaret Street, Lake Country Village, any place like that where it's been critically important to maintain the things that we have, as well as look forward to the future. You know, as any mayor will tell you, we need to pave the potholes, but we also need to think of 30 years in the future on what our community is going to provide. City Hall has been in disrepair. We just went through a window replacement project. We just installed high efficiency heat pumps for heating and cooling in City Hall. The stairs, you walk around the stairs and you're like, it looks shoddy. It does not look representative of a nice small community like ours. There are holes in the roof. It's leaking down into the basement. It's causing mold problems in the records keeping as well as break rooms in City Hall. And it's time to do something about it. That money will go a long way. It's a $1.5 million project already to fix both. And we're very excited to do a little bit of refresh on City Hall.
Also, another $40,000 coming from the state, from that Red Sea money, for a study on Sailors Beach and possibly making some improvements there.
Yeah, Sailors Beach is, again, we've got about 21, 22 green spaces, parks and green spaces throughout our 5.5 square miles of municipality. Sailors Beach is one of those private, tucked away, locals only, kind of well-known place, and it'll be nice to see what we can do to improve access. Because as you remember, even 2 years ago, we had to block access to Sailors Beach because of the stairs over there, and we had to replace that. So it'll be nice to see some improvements and better access to these to the lakefront and the waterfront that we have. The waterfront's not just the beach, and I know we talk about investing in the beach, and we talk about when we invest in waterfront, oftentimes we refer to the beach, but places like the beach, Vale Park, right off of Waterhouse Street, Sailors Point Park, Sailors Beach, even the river, Harborside. These are all waterfront parks that we really adore and want to take care of. This money will go a long way.
And $2.5 million going to parks. That's part of the overall plan. Next year, you'll focus on a number of parks, including the U.S. Oval, making some improvements there.
Yeah, they're what we call our 5 central parks. We went through, again, a lot of community engagement to identify what improvements should we be making to these parks. A lot of community feedback, community-driven development in terms of walking, playground equipment, accessibility, and better accessible equipment. And these parks are year-round, and that's really the focus that we're trying to make here, is that our parks are year-round. We want to improve them for year-round use. We don't have a recreation department, and I know that's a lot of concern for a lot of people. So what we can do is we can do partnerships like we've done with the YMCA, as well as improve our parks and green space for year-round access. And again, our goal right now is to focus $2.5 million on park improvement. It'll get us a portion of the way there. It's not even going to get us all of the way there, but it will get us enough to keep that momentum and to keep that ball rolling for future improvements, and we're very, very excited for that.
And at the Oval, a pavilion and restrooms, which there haven't been, and for all the events held there, that'll be a hit to have restrooms there.
Yeah, new pavilion, restrooms, walking trails, an improved playground, the revitalizing or revamping the gazebo that's out there. And again, you've seen it, everybody sees it when we have large lacrosse tournaments or soccer tournaments out at the Oval. People come out and see it, as well as all of the veteran celebrations and all the things that we do out there. It's just a fantastic opportunity to improve that park.
You and the Common Council working on a new budget. You've asked councilors to weigh in on your budget proposals. What are some of the highlights in the budget this year?
Yeah, some of the bigger highlights, again, I go back to maintenance and maintaining what we got. We're adding, right now we only have one full-time person to maintain downtown. That person is tasked and responsible for picking up garbage, weeding, emptying garbage cans, sweeping up, as well as shoveling sidewalks in the wintertime. We only have one person doing that, especially with the addition of the River Walk, Betty Little Arts Park, and all the other improvements that we've made to Margaret Street. I felt that it's very important to add one other full-time person, one other full-time staff to help with maintenance downtown.
You have 2 new members joining the City Council in January. Ward 2, Jake Avery will take over for Mike Kelly. Mike couldn't run again due to term limits. And David Monette will be the new councilor for Ward 5, replacing Caitlin Bopp, who decided not to run for re-election. Have you had a chance to sit down and meet with them and hear them out on what are priorities for them?
Yeah, mostly I've been able to sit down and talk to them about where city's at, any questions that they have about city business or concerns or, in terms of major issues that have come up, the hotel, 206, US Oval, Margaret Street, and infrastructure improvements, things like that, as well as improvements to the beach.
You mentioned the hotel. Are you hoping to get that back on the agenda in the new year?
I don't know. That's kind of up in the air at this point. Part of the concerns that I feel have been addressed are some of the environmental concerns. When we look at the development agreement alone, the development agreement provides an extensive amount of protections to the taxpayer. It's not a dollar deal. I know people said we don't need to sell this property for $1. It's not. It was appraised at fair market value for $1.2 million. That's the sale price that we've offered the developer. There is a caveat for addressing any environmental concerns that we would discount the price. But on the flip side of that, there's also a community benefit agreement in that contract that outlines about $300,000 or so of payments by the developer to the city for benefits to that community, to our community, and to that neighborhood. As far as bringing it back, I don't know.
You heard from a number of business owners and what they think downtown waterfront hotel would bring to other businesses in the downtown. You agree with them?
100%. There are a number of businesses that have come out in support of having a hotel downtown. Not only just the accessibility for people to walk the short distance from the Harborside up to have a slice of pizza or have dinner at Arnie's or do some shopping, local shopping downtown. There's just an opportunity to expand on some of the events that we currently host in the region. We've got 6 fishing tournaments that come to the city of Plattsburgh that operate right there at that marina. Why not take advantage of the people who are already coming here, giving them a place to stay right across the street from where they're currently fishing and where they're currently doing their tournament, and help grow downtown and help expand downtown.
Just shy of 2 years now that Bud York has been the city's interim police chief. Are you close to naming a new permanent chief?
At this point, Chief York, because of his election down in Warren County, he's taken a leave, a permanent leave from the city of Plattsburgh. His service was well appreciated, and Captain Mitchell right now is essentially the acting chief of police in that department. Captain Mitchell has my full support. He should be the next chief of police. It really is just a matter of what the council wants to decide on, because it does require council approval for any mayoral appointment. He has the most experience in the department. He has the most management experience in the department, and he's the longest standing member of this department as well. It makes perfect sense for him to be the next chief of police, considering all of the arguments that we've heard up until now. We want an internal candidate. We want somebody local. We want somebody with experience. He matches all of those things. He really should be the next chief of police.
Will you make that appointment before the end of the year?
I don't know if I'll make it before the end of the year. I think we may have to wait until the next chief's test comes out. He takes the chief's test in March, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Chris Rosenquest, thank you so much. Happy Thanksgiving to you, and we appreciate you taking the time.
Happy Thanksgiving to you too, Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you.